Yo, what's poppin'? Welcome to Bhroman Braapsody. This is where we review cars and motorcycles. I'm the host for Motorcycles and the punk does the cars. We are back again at Motorcycles of Greensboro with guess who? The man, the myth, the legend, the professor himself. How are you, Professor? How are
Always
you?
a pleasure to see you, man. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. It's so much fun being here.
Welcome back, man. You know that you're always welcome here. You're
Thank
part
you
of the family.
Thank you.
That's how it goes.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you so much.
But yeah, we're back in Germany. It's Oktoberfest.
It's Oktoberfest, yes.
And we're going to be celebrating Germany for
The entire month of October.
And we got plenty of stuff to play with.
Oh yeah, plenty of fun stuff to play with.
What do you say we start from the little things and then slowly work our way all the way up to the big things?
Absolutely, that's how it's got to be. This is the 2021 BMW G310 R, and in today's episode we're going to learn about the bike, see some of its cool features. I'll take it out on the road, share my thoughts with you guys, talk about the cost of ownership, and assign it a Bhromance score. So don't go anywhere. It's me, it's your boy Bro, and I am your Bhroman. So let's start off with something that might attract a lot of people who are new to motorcycling.
And that was exactly the purpose behind what is sitting in front of us. You know this. In India, people use motorcycles as a means of transportation.
Absolutely.
It's not just a toy. In Italy, people use small displacement motorcycles and scooters as a means of transportation, not a toy. Primarily because cost of ownership of a car or anything bigger is so high, it makes sense to have a small displacement vehicle. Why am I going there? Well, because we all know BMW for their 500cc and above motorcycles, perfect for German roads, because German roads are all relatively new, so they're the Autobahn and all that stuff. Perfect for US roads, because they're as straight as the eye could see, and they're huge. And in America, we use motorcycles as toys anyways. But with the aging demographic of motorcycling demographic, BMW had this great idea of introducing a product that was more based and focused towards beginning riders, as you mentioned. Therefore, needed to be a little smaller than their usual, and they did it with a perfect partner. In 2013, BMW joined forces with TBS, an Indian company, and has been engineered and designed and has been producing the G310. Started with the R, and then they've evolved a little bit too. But just to be able to offer customers, Americans, around the world, the opportunity to buy a BMW branded motorcycle that was less than 500 cc's, with a price point that's more in line with a small displacement motorcycle, and primarily it's just to generate some new interest and bring in some new blood into the brand. It offers, within its limits, obviously, it offers really good performance, and it has the reputation of being a BMW reliable motorcycle. So beginners can come in, or entry-level motorcyclists can come in and comfortably, feel confident about being able to buy the motorcycle. Now, the funny thing about this whole thing is this: we're talking about beginning entry-level motorcyclists. Well, what I've noticed in the past little bit, the person who has been riding motorcycles for a long time almost goes full circle and comes back to the 310, to the entry-level bike, because it is a lot more fun to ride a small motorcycle fast than it is to ride a fast motorcycle slow.
Yeah, and even the color choices for this motorcycle are the fun color choices. That stuff that kind of pop.
Yeah.
Like if you look at this bike, it's got red wheels that complement the red stripes all over it. And can you guess something else that this bike has that we've seen on the motorcycles from our Italian neighbor? The trellis frame.
The trellis frame.
The trellis frame. So every time I look at a trellis frame, I think of you, Professor. I'm like, yeah, Ducatis and other European brands have the trellis frame.
It still presents. It's just a very well balanced chassis design,
and it looks really good.
Looks good.
All right, so you guys might think that this is a 310cc bike or a 310, and this is skipping out on features, But no, it's really not. This has a very intuitive ECU, which will rev up the engine if it feels that you're about to stall. How cool is that?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I remember back in the day when I started riding as a teenager, how many times I used to stall, like every freaking time, because you're not giving it enough gas, or you're letting go of the clutch too soon, or you're letting go of the clutch but not giving it gas.
Right.
So
and then the bike would just stall.
Just stall.
And then you take the chance of potentially dropping it because it's when it comes to that stall, it's not easy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a lot of cool history and cool facts about this motorcycle.
A little bit. I mean, if you think about it, BMW has a huge heritage, right? I mean, 1920s, blah. This bike is relatively new, but it comes to us from a manufacturer who obviously has all that experience. And also the partner, the Indian partner, also has a lot of experience because although they may not have, let's say, 100 years of being in the motorcycling, but they've definitely produced enough motorcycles because the Indian market absorbs that many. So there's a lot of experience real fast that's been gathered real fast. So.
Oh, and
cool bikes. Again, reliable and fun and all that stuff. I mean, what else can we say about the bike? It's got all the basic things. It's got
all the basic things. It has technology. It has the logo. It has the branding.
We've been talking about this motorcycle now for a few minutes, anyways, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm sitting here wondering if the viewers don't want to have an actual, real, up close, detailed walk around of the bike. And here we are yapping away.
I like the way you think. Let's do a walk around.
Let's do a walk around.
So starting off from the front of the bike, it's got LED headlamps, 2 turn signals. The other cool thing about this bike is, like, on the front it has these inverted front forks. So the suspension on motorcycles usually consist of 2 elements, the larger tube and the smaller tube. The smaller tube goes in and out. In most motorcycles, you'll see the larger tubes at the bottom and the small ones on top. In sports bikes, it's the other way around. Why? Because it aids in handling. It gives more rigidity to the steering column, so that way you can flick it more easily. And how does this help you? Well, this bike also has a 25-degree rake angle. What's the rake angle, you ask? Well, draw a perpendicular from the steering mount and follow the fork tube. That angle is your rake angle. Shorter the rake angle, the more nimble the bike is, and larger the rake angle, the more stable it is at higher speeds, highway speeds, and such. Sports bikes tend to have a rake angle closer to 24 degrees. So this is at 25, right around that mark. So this should be very nimble. This bike weighs less than 400 pounds, 380 odd pounds. Combine that with this small rake angle, the inverted front forks, should be a lot of fun to ride. You can see that naked trellis frame down there, single shock suspension in the middle. I love this color. I love the color combination, the contrast of the red splash going against the white, the gray, the blue, the BMW logo, all of it. It's got a single exhaust coming out here. At the heart of the bike, it's a liquid cooled engine, so there's that. It's still a 6-speed. Coming around the back, it does have a fender here with the 2 turn signals on the LED lights, license plate holder. I'm assuming the first thing most people are going to do is get rid of that once they buy it. You have little grab handles for your passenger. Chain drive, 6-speed. The fuel tank on this is a 2.9 gallon fuel tank. Not a huge fuel tank, but not bad either. Now this bike does not have keyless ignition. You get your old school key, take it, put it in, turn it on. So you have your lights for your neutral, turn signals, check engine, ABS, all of that. And as for your display here, you get a digital fuel gauge, odometer, which gives you your miles, your speed, what gear you're on, your time, and the tachometer. As for the switches and handlebar controls, on your left hand side you have passing lights, high beam, low beam, turn signals, and the horn. On the right hand side you have a kill switch and your starter. So Professor, can you tell us a little bit about Motorcycles of Greensboro?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to think of Motorcycles of Greensboro as a place where motorcycle enthusiasts come together and to share their experiences, their enthusiasm, and their knowledge. I don't necessarily consider Motorcycles of Greensboro your typical dealership setting, because you will not find a pushy salesperson here. All you have here is a group of people who are motorcyclists and enthusiasts who have chosen to share their knowledge with anyone and everyone who's willing to listen. We're here to support motorcycling, either locally or out of our area.
The folks here are super passionate about motorcycling. They're very friendly, they're very easy to get along with. And you ask them a question, they have answers. And if you want to know about stories, they have tons of stories. There's about 300 years of riding experience within these 4 walls. Check them out. I'll put the website link in the video description below. When you come here, you gotta find the professor and tell him that you saw him on these videos.
That's very important.
It's very important.
That's very important.
And when you come down here, who should they say send them to you, Professor?
They gotta let us know that the Bhroman sent them.
The Bhromance send them, you will be part of this amazing family here.
That's right. Right off the bat, you're welcome into the family.
Every time we hang out with the professor, it's always an amazing, amazing time. But speaking of time, Professor, do you happen to know what time it is?
Bro, it's right o'clock, brother. You gotta go.
It's right o'clock. Let's go.
Alright guys, if you're new to Bhroman, give us a like and hit that subscribe button. We put out content every week and your support would mean a lot. Let's do our first test. Let's make a couple of U-turns and see how this thing maneuvers. No weight whatsoever. Not a problem. It has a 54-inch wheelbase. Makes it easy. Now I've been dying to try this feature out. The ECU is supposed to rev for you if it feels like you're about to stall in first gear. So we're in first. No gas. I'll just be resting my hand here. And here I am, letting go of the clutch. Do I stall? No. Clutch hand is completely off. Gas hand is completely off. It's moving. Give it some gas. Yup. Nice. Now this bike has a peak power of 34 horsepower. 34 horses, 21 foot-pound of torque. Well, that just means that it's time for our second test, which is our pull test. Let's see how this puppy pulls, shall we? Go back into first. It's a 300cc bike. What did you expect? It'll do crazy speeds? No. Look at it, it's Troy. Let's talk about the first impressions of this motorcycle. Well, I'm seated quite upright. I'm not leaning over for the handlebars. They're at the standard position. I don't have a windshield, a fairing, none of that. I have this little display down here, but that's not in the line of sight. You gotta look down to look into it, which is standard for most sports bikes. I love how the tank kind of contours with your legs. There's a little cutout so your legs go in. My legs aren't bent weirdly. I'm sitting quite comfortably. These are the mid-mount controls. Not bad at all. Yeah, this is where this bike would shine. The nimbleness of this bike is off the charts. Like I said, I'm 5'10", 31-inch inseam. I can flat-foot it easily. It's a light bike, very well-balanced bike. So, balance is not an issue whatsoever. I love the sound that the engine makes. It's like it's an angry puppy. And as for the seating position, it's a good, decent seating position. It's like a standard motorcycle seating position. You're not leaned over. You're not sitting back like a cruiser, but you're definitely not leaned over like you would be on sports bikes. But that's that. It's a good seating position. Leg positions are good, although I do feel a little compact on this bike. So taller riders, like I'm 5'10", so the riders who are taller than me might be a little cooped up in here. Let's check out the suspension. Yep, actually pretty good. We went over those railway tracks and didn't feel nothing. So pretty good suspension, pretty good seating position. The mirrors, well, I can see my shoulders from there, so that's good. That's what sports bike mirrors are good for, is to see your reflection or see your shoulders. Let's take this corner. Yeah. Yep. Oh, stupid around corners. Stupid. Now, is this a bike that you can use for commuting? Well, sure. If you're in town, if you're commuting in town, in and around town, sure you can. Again, this does not have any storage space. There are no saddlebags or anything, so you'll probably have to take your laptop or your stuff in your backpack. And I would stick to like the city streets or the back roads at max. I wouldn't go on the highway with this. It's very light and there's no wind protection. This could be a good commuter bike. Now, is this a good bike for touring? No, this is not. It's got no wind protection, no saddlebags, and none of that. Even the seating position is not what you would want on a touring motorcycle. I know a lot of folks do touring or have done touring on their super sports and such, but just because they've done it doesn't mean that it's the comfortable way of doing it. So yeah, I definitely not recommend for touring. Is this a good bike for beginners? Heck yeah, like this is one of the best motorcycles for a beginner. It's light, it's not super powerful, it's nimble, the balance is awesome. You're not gonna break your bank trying to get one of these. This is a great bike for you as a beginner to start riding, to get an understanding of the balance of the clutch and the throttle and the brake, how all of that works in conjunction with each other.
Let's talk about the cost of ownership, shall we? This bike requires the first break-in service at 600 miles and then a service every 6,000 miles, or a year, whichever comes first. And each of these services should cost you about $300. A set of new tires should last you about 10,000 miles, and a set of tires front and back should run you about $400. So assuming you ride 5,000 miles a year, over a 2-year period you would need the 3 services and a set of new tires for a total of $1,300. Divided by the number of days, it's about $1.80 a day. Let's assign it a score, shall we? On the looks, it's a 7.5 out of 10. On the Braap, it's a 5 out of 10. On the maintenance, it's a 9 out of 10. And on the comfort, it's a 7 out of 10. For a combined Bhromance score of 7.1 out of 10.
So in conclusion, this bike, it's a very light bike. It's a very good entry-level bike. It's not superly powerful, but it's nimble. It's got a short wheelbase, low seat height. It's still a BMW. Great bike for beginners or for really experienced riders who are looking to have something in their collection to have stupid fun with. Are you a guy or a gal who's been looking to getting into motorcycling but don't know if this is a good bike or what's a good bike? Well, this is a great beginner bike. If you want to check it out for yourself, head on down to your closest BMW dealership and check it out. Thanks for watching, you guys. Keep your knees in the breeze, and I'll catch you soon. Bro out.